Hi! From the previous topics we learned about cell respiration and how it works to gain ATP, our body's currency for energy. In that process, we need oxygen. That's why it's called aerobic respiration. How about the organisms that don't have enough supply of oxygen or don't use oxygen at all to gain energy? They'll move in a process called anaerobic respiration in the form of fermentation. Now, what is fermentation? Fermentation is a metabolic process taking place in the absence of oxygen. In this video, we're going to focus on lactic acid fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation is used by certain bacteria and routinely in mammalian red blood cells in skeletal muscle that has an insufficient oxygen supply to allow cell respiration to continue.
Lactic acid fermentation, like its aerobic counterpart, also starts with glycolysis. Glycolysis breaks a glucose molecule into two pyruvate molecules. Lactic acid fermentation takes it a step further by converting 3-carbon pyruvate into 3-carbon lactate and regenerates NADH+ from NADH in the process, allowing glycolysis to happen again. Let's look a bit further. The enzyme used in this reaction is lactate dehydrogenase, or LADH. It catalyzes the interconversion of NADH and NADH+. To achieve this, NADH is to donate its extra electrons to the pyruvate molecules, regenerating NADH+, and lactate is formed by the reduction of pyruvate and the oxidation of NADH+ from NADH to NADH+. When lactic acid is the only fermentation product, the process is said to be homolactic fermentation, such in the case for Lactobacillus delbrueckii and S. thermophilus, used in yogurt production. However, many bacteria perform heterolactic fermentation, producing a mixture of lactic acid, ethanol, and/or acetic acid, and CO2 as a result because of their use of the branched pentose phosphate pathway instead of EMP pathway for glycolysis. Pentose phosphate pathway functions as an alternative route for glucose oxidation that does not directly consume or produce ATP. One important heterolactic fermenter is leuconostic metendiroides, which is used for souring vegetables like cucumbers and cabbage, producing pickles and sauerkraut respectively. Lactic acid bacteria are also important medically. The production of low pH environments within the body inhibits the establishment and growth of pathogens in these areas. For example, the vaginal microbiota is composed largely of lactic acid bacteria, but when these bacteria are reduced, yeast can proliferate, causing a yeast infection. Additionally, lactic acid bacteria are important in maintaining the health of the gastrointestinal tract and such are the primary component of probiotics.
Bawat bata may tanong,
Ba't ganito? Ba't ganon?
hayaang buksan ang isipan.
Sa science o agham, tayo na sa siniskwela. Tuklasin natin ang siyensya,
Buksan ang pag-iisip.
tayo'y likas na scientist.